Good evening from Misano. We had the coffee this morning, Mauricio. Now we finally have the trophy. We are about to give the start for the formation lap, final stage of the season. So, how is the emotion?
Very high. Let's see what will happen. We are really looking forward for the end of this season, a night race, so I'm sure that will be great.
So let's see who's gonna have this trophy at the end of this 50 minutes race plus one lap. Stefano, to you with the formation lap underway.
Right now on the straight of the Misano circuit.
Thank you,
The
Antonio.
lights and we're go. We're riding the last first part of the race here in Misano.
Season.
On the inside, inside Variante del Parco. Let's see, there's already a contact. There's a contact between Barkin, Pinar is about to end, so let's see what the lap times are. 1:44.9 is speeding up Konukoglu, which is now 40. His lead on Occhiai and Brigatti, while on 36.5. TCR fans, welcome back to Misano. We're about to start the second stage of this last round, the fourth round of this 2024 season of TCR European Endurance Series. We heard briefly from Antonio and Mauricio Slaviero a few seconds ago, but now we're about to start the second half of the race with the cars already lined on the straight. Lights on, obviously, because it's already nighttime here in Misano, so we're going to witness 55 minutes of action in night mode. And we already started with Eric Brigliadori taking the lead from pole position and everybody else behind him trying to stay out of trouble at the Variante del Parco. We've seen a contact here at the start of the first stage, but now all seems okay for everybody back in the group. Brigliadori and Skoda in second position with 50 in P3 with the third Texaco AMS Audi. Brigliadori already opening the gap towards virtual corner. There's already some battle with Lisi from P4 trying to take the inside line and attacking Cifci for P3 for what seems to have been a successful overtake for the TCR Cupra driver for Pro Race team. Behind him, the two Volkswagen Golf of Fabrizio Tableau, who's now up in P5, while Ottavio Cappelli is now down to P6 with the other Pro Racing Volkswagen Golf. It's already very, very dark here at Misano with Eric Brigliadori now about to close the first lap of the second stage of the race, leading from Sedaka-chan in second position and Cifci, which is still in P3 for the live timing, but should be in P4 because it's Lisi now up in P3 after that overtake that we saw a few moments ago. Marshall's ready on the pit wall. But for now, everything went fine for all the 6 drivers on track. Now with 6 seconds gap on while Sedaka-chan looks to have a bit of trouble because we saw from the live timing she's down in P4 right now, being overtaken by Chifchi and by Lizzie too. Lizzie has been overtaken back from Chifchi to regain 2 positions now and is up in P2, 145.7. First lap from Eric Brigliadori, while everybody else is on a slower pace, of a very slower pace, because Chifchi lapped in 151.5, and now let's see at the end of the second lap if they can get up to speed. Beautiful images as the cars arrived at the carro with the brake discs light up by the braking. Very beautiful circuit to race at night time, especially with TCR cars. 143.4 for Eric Brigliadori, which opens the gap even more on Chifchi, who's now in P2 with 10 seconds gap. Third position for Lisi at 12 seconds, while Sedaka-chan is now down to P4 with 13 seconds from the leader. P5 from Cappelli, who overtaked teammate Fabrizio Tableau. Is now back down in P6. You can see also from the images that Lisi and Sedaka-chan are really, really close, heading down to Vershak corner, while the other drivers are already in the pit lane, waiting for the right moment to prepare and be ready for the driver change. Eric Brigliadori has showed a pace this morning that was really, really above anybody else's pace. So he started right back where he left it this morning, and is now about to close the third lap of this second stage of the race. 143.2 is speeding up again. Eric Brigliadori very looks like he's really unbeatable today here in Misano. He wants the title, he wants the trophy that Antonio showed us a few moments before the start. 147.3 for Chifchi in P2, another 4 seconds gain for Eric Brigliadori in the lead of this race, while Lisi and Sedaka-chan are lapping on more or less the same lap time. There's a small gap of 9 tenths behind them, between them, so there's going to be very soon a battle for the lower step of the podium between Lisi and Sedaka-chan, between the pro race Seat Cupra and third Texaco AMS Audi with the number 4. Again with Eric Brigliadori in P1. Looks like he has no rivals today, even going in this night mode. Another lap closing for him, 142.9, sadly under the 143 seconds mark. Eric Brigliadori Let's see the lap times from Cifci, who's quite faster than the two behind him. 146.4 for Cifci in this fourth lap of the stage. 147.7 for Lisi. 53. He could open a small gap on Sebastian as he gained 7/10 in the last lap. Cifci now at 18 seconds from the leader. Is the gap for Lisi, who has now almost 2 seconds of advantage with Sedakachan in P4. So still no battles at the moment, while no one seems to have the pace to keep up with Eric Brigliadori. Let's see after the pit stop then if the situations will change. You can see it's very dark at the Carro corner. There's probably even less light in that particular corner of the track. So let's see if that could be maybe a little bit of problem for the drivers. 46 minutes on the clock. We also wait for Antonio to maybe catch up with someone at the pit wall to see how the man at the pit wall or the other drivers waiting to jump in are following this first part of the stage. Sedaka-chan now still a little bit closer to Lisi. So the battle for P3 is still open. Obviously, a temperature drop since this morning, so the grip conditions should be very, very tricky for the drivers right now. As we see the breaking point for Quercia corner, with Sedaka-chan now getting really close to Lisi as they head down to the Tramonto corner. Let's see if Sedaka-chan will be able to get close enough to maybe trying and get the move on Lisi for the final step of the podium of this race. Meanwhile, Eric Brigliadori with a 1:42.7, which is so far the fastest lap of the race. It seems like no one can really battle with him so far. So pretty easy situation so far for him. They will then hand the wheel over to Turgut Kunukoglu for the second part of the stage. Meanwhile, 52, he has quite a small advantage on the cars behind him. So his gap of 25 seconds from the leader is not a problem for him, who has on his side a 7 seconds gap on Lisi in third position. Behind them, Capelli is still in P5 with Fabrizio Tableau in P6. Here's Nardilli, who will jump in the number 18 car. now driven by Lisi in P3. 1.1 the gap between him and Sedaka-chan on the last lap. Trouble-free race so far. We saw very clean start from all the six drivers. Eric Brigliadori that started right away to push very hard, it looks like he has the strongest pace of all, but it's something we witnessed for all the weekend so far, starting from the free practice sessions and then qualifying. So it's no surprise to see Eric Brigliadori very strong in the lead of this second part of the race. Let's see a replay of the start with Eric Brigliadori keeping the inside line and getting into the braking zone of turn one in the lead with no overtakes attempt from the cars behind him, and fortunately no contact between the cars in the middle of the pack. Brigliadori now running in the 9th lap of this stage with 31 minutes on the clock still to race. Here's the number 73 car of Capelli in P5. Right now, the only two cars quite close to maybe start a battle are still the car of Lewis in P3 and the car of Sedaka in P4. The sixth attempt behind them, between them, the last lap, the end of the last lap. Beautiful images from Misano with the nighttime offering a very spectacular scenario for these cars. The perfect ending for this first ever season of TCR European Endurance Series. We'll then see who will be crowned champion at the end of the stage, whereas Brigliadori and Konukoglu are now in an optimal position to confirm their leadership in the standings and get their hands on the trophy. Bit of tension at the pit wall. Everybody following very, very closely the race. Everybody waiting to see who will be crowned champion at the end of this last stage. Yes, Fabrizio Catò, this weekend with the double role of driver and team manager. Again with Sedaka-chan chasing Lisi for P3. Their gap is still around 6 tenths, so Lisi is holding up quite good with the number 18 car. But Sedaka-chan is still there, so she will then hand over the wheel to Okiai, who will then have to see if he can get the best of the Nardilli. Drivers already putting the helmet on in the pit lane as we get closer to the opening of the pit window, as the team will have to serve the mandatory pit stop. Sedaka-chan really close. still in the back of the Lisi car, but still has to find the space, the gap. But as we said it, we try and make the move on the inside at the Tramonto corner. So beautiful move, beautiful overtake for Sedaka-chan. That goes up to P3 with this beautiful overtake at the Tramonto corner. Let's see if Lisi can find time to back, or if Sedaka-chan will now open a gap with now the three Texaco team AMS Audi in the first three positions of the race. The camera's going a little blurry with the night lights. White Capelli is not that far behind the duo. He has a 5 seconds gap from Lisi, now down to P4, while Brigliadori in the lead has now a 39 seconds gap before ending the car to Torgut Konopoglu, with Chifchi 39 seconds behind. 142.7, the best lap for Brigliadori so far. Almost 3 seconds quicker than Chifchi, who's the second fastest driver on the track. So really, really strong pace for Brigliadori so far in this last session of the season. Brigliadori now getting close to Fabrizio Tableau. Is now about to be lapped. There's 10 seconds of difference between Brigliadori's last lap and Tableau last lap. 142.8 for Brigliadori, 152.1 for Tableau, who's about to be lapped. Drivers getting ready in the pit lane. It's almost time for the pit stop, so let's see if Antonio can get us maybe some other insights from the pit lane. With Konopoglu waiting to get the wheel from Brigliadori, Pinar about to get in the car, now driven by Chifchi. And then Occhiai and Nardilli waiting to get behind the wheel in place of Lisi and Sedaka-chan. They are now very, very, very close to the end of their stint, and actually to the end of their season in 2024. Yes, now every car, as always, at a break this right up at every corner and every breaking point, which is one of the most spectacular features of racing at night time. Pit lane getting alive, waiting for the pit window to open. Sedaka-chan now opening a little gap on Lisi. That also has to keep an eye on his rearview mirrors, because Capelli is not that far behind, running in P5. 143.0, still lapping on his pace, Brigliadori. While there is now no battle on track, everybody being with a small gap to manage. We see that Sedaka-chan maybe made a small mistake, because Lisi is now back in the back of his car, or of her car. So let's see if maybe the cameras can show us the number 4 car and the number 18 that we can see from the live timing are now really, really close. Yes, but now out to the corner right in front of Beasley. And there they are. And we have the first pit stops. Meanwhile, we have the first car in the pit lane, but I'm not quite sure the pit window is already open. Should be. Let's see. The driver in the pit lane. We briefly saw an image car in the pit lane, but we didn't have time to recognize the driver. With the marshals still chatting because it's been a very quiet race so far. Let me say. We can see there's a car. It's probably Tableau's car in the pit lane. We saw frontal view of the main stage and the car in the pit lane seems to be the number 25 of Tableau, the Faro Racing Volkswagen Golf. He's the only driver running alone in this race, and that's why he has to add a 5 more to the imposed time for the pit stop. Now let's see when the 3 Texaco Audis in the front will decide to get in the pit lane for the driver change. Should be any minute now for them and also for Lisi and Cappelli behind them in P4 and P5. Take a look at the overall classification, which is the sum of part 1 and part 2 of the race. Obviously, Konokoglu and Brigliadori are in first position, with Bocchiai and Sedaka-chan still in second, and with Pinar Cifci now up to P3, with Nardini Lisi in P4, Brigatti Cappelli in P5, and Fabrizio Tableau in P6. Brigliadori and Konokoglu with 1 lap advantage on Okiai and Kachan and 2 laps advantage on everybody else. Actually 3 laps on Fabrizio Tableau, so very strongly in the lead of the race and in the best possible position to get their hands on the trophy at the end of this second stage. It's now time for pit stop also for the 73, with Brigatti stepping in and Cappelli handing the wheel over to him. You can see the mechanics also working on the tires. They have to change at least 2 tires on every car. Meanwhile, Lisi has now a 4.4 gap between him and Sedaka-chan in P3. But as we said a few moments ago, Sedaka-chan still holds up in the overall classification to P2. So quite a positive race for Sedaka-chan and Ibrahim Okiai so far in this last round. Another Audi The Audi of Sedaka-chan getting in the pit lane, followed closely by Lisi. So it's now up to Okiai and Nardilli to jump in the car and race for this last 27 minutes left, 27 minutes plus one lap to see the checkered flag waving on this race and this season. Sedaka-chan being P2 and also in P1 for the DSG category. A category that they've already won. But obviously another victory, what they're aiming for. So we're now waiting for the leaders. Meanwhile, we have Brigatti starting from the pit lane and getting back on track to start his stint in the second stage. Here he is driving out the pit lane and back on track. While Fabrizio Tableau now up in P5. Let's see if Brigatti can catch up with his teammate. And now it's time for also for Okiai to get out of the pit lane. Very positive stint for Sedaka-chan in this last stage. And now we just wait for Eric Pigliadori and Chifchi, and Chifchi to hand over the cars to Koglu and Barkin Pinar. You see Brigatti getting close to Fabrizio Tableau, who's been able with the pit stop to step up to P5, but Brigatti looks a little bit faster than his teammate, so maybe we can see an overtake in the next few laps. Here's Fabrizio Tableau. Probably the pit stop we saw before from him wasn't the mandatory one. Maybe a little bit of trouble for him, but he's still in the race. Behind him is Sinan Chifti and over the car to Pinar. Here is Barkin Pinar jumping in the car right now as we speak. High five from Chifchi. Very good stint from him too. Now running in second place in this second stage, third overall. The Pro Race, the Faro Racing mechanics working on the number 25 series. Eric Pigliadori. Now waiting for the very last minute to hand the car over to Torgut Konukoglu, while Barkin Pinar is now in the car, ready to start his final stage. He's waiting for the green light from the mechanics. He has to wait for the imposed time to be over. And there he is, starting from the pit lane and getting out on track to start his stint. 22 minutes, 40 seconds to the end of the 55 minutes, the last 55 minutes of the season. All the cars are now back on track, and we should have Brigliadori now in the pit lane for the last pit stop of the season. We can see it from the lifetime. Eric Brigliadori is now the only car in the pit lane. There he is, strongly in the lead of the race. So very strong weekend for them. They won the title, they won the victory in this race. Here is Eric Brigliadori handing over to Torgut Konukoglu, waiting to jump in and get home. One last victory for 2024. They won at Balaton Park, the inaugural race. They won the second race at Vallelunga. They had to lose the fight with Sandro Pelatti and Franco Girolami here at Misano back in June for the first time we raced here for round 3. But now nobody seems able to battle with them for the victory. So everything ready, still working on the car and waiting for the clock to say it's time to get out and race it again. Torgut Konukoglu in the car right now for the last pit stop of the race. 20 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Very dark car corner. Maybe a bit of a problem from the lights in that corner. With Konukoglu now on his way to get back on track. We're used to the daytime on this beautiful track, watching MotoGP races or maybe GT World Challenge races. But this track is really beautiful. Also at night time, you can see how spectacular these images are, and we can only imagine how spectacular can it be to drive on this track at night time. We're now entering the final part of this second stage, so we're minutes away from the end of the season. So, just a moment to take a minute to thank you all for being with us this season. This morning, Mauricio Slaviero already told us there's a new season in the works for 2025, with even a 5th race on the calendar. So let's see what the futures holds for TCR European Endurance Series. Meanwhile, we're waiting for Antonio to get back in the pits, where he can hopefully get some work with the drivers that is in the on track for the first part of the stage. Meanwhile, nothing new in the classification. So Konukoglu is largely in the lead on this 20th lap of the stage. You see from the GPS that at the moment there's no battles on track. Everybody is quite far from each other, except for maybe the cars that are about to be lapped. That is the case for Pablo with Martin Pinar at the moment, and it should be the same very briefly for Konukoglu with the number 18 of Lisi in P4. This should be like a tricky moment for all the drivers running alone, but the grip level should be now very tricky because of the low temperatures that are now on track at night time. There is how to grab Fabrizio Tableau in P6. Trying to use his lights to tell him make space for me to lap you, and there he is. No problem for Martin Pinar in P2, lapping Fabrizio Tableau. Take a look at the lap times for the new drivers on track with 142.7 for Konukoglu, but here is Antonio with Eric Rigodori. And you, Antonio.
Last dance of the season with the last run of pit stop already held. Here we are with Eric Brigliatori, who started the race. So how was this first final stage of the season for you?
Yeah, I had a good start. Even in the first lap, I managed the car without taking too many risks. Then I just take the pace until the end. The car was mega, so thanks to the team for the good job. Now my teammate Turgut is on the car. Seems that everything is going well, so I hope to finish this way.
Touching wood for you, but maybe you have already an eye on the title because it's the last final part of the season. It's been an amazing season for you, for your team, and for your teammates. So, looking back, how was this 2024 season?
No, to be honest, we had a good season overall. Just a bit of unluck in the previous round here in Misano. We had a mechanical issue in the second part of the race, so we couldn't finish in a good position. But we are here once again. Now seems that everything is running well, so I hope to finish this way.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Eric is obviously very, very satisfied about his season and his race today here at Misano, just waiting for this last 40 minutes to be over to finally get their hands not only on this last victory, the third of the season in 4 races, but mainly on the season trophy, the overall trophy, the crown of the overall champion, the first ever overall champion for TCR European Endurance Series. We're looking at the lap times with Turgut Konukoglu now in the lead of the race with 1:39.0, not taking any risks. With Martin Pinar and Ibrahim Okiai in second and third position, with the other two Texaco AMS Audis lapping quite faster than him. 146.4 for Pinar, 146.3 for Okiai, 147.0 for Nardilli in P4, 145.9 for Brigatti in P5. Let's see if maybe Brigatti can close his gap on Nardilli, but it's quite a it's quite a big gap to close. So there's only 12 minutes and 45 seconds now. So it'll be very, very difficult for him to catch Nardini for P4. Ibrahim Okia in P3, still in the lead of the DSG category. And Konukoglu ending the lap number 23. Now with a good lap time, 1:46.4 for him. Brigadori opening a huge gap. So Konukoglu now all he has to manage the gap until the checkered flag. An eye on Brigatti and Nardini meanwhile, because Brigatti is quite faster than Nardini at the moment. Number 18 of Nardini getting in the darker area of the track. Carro. You can see the difference between the rest of the track, but there's a car in the
We are still in the pit lane with Francesco Fontana, engineer from ProRace, a team who set his first race in TCR European Endurance Final. So how was for you this debut and as well the amazing night race?
Well, let's keep these fingers crossed. First of all, good night to everyone. Well, race amazing, and we are now in second position of DSG. We are checking the situation, and our driver Nardilli now is keeping a good pace. We trust in him that he could reach this target, but about the event, I'd like to say that is a very amazing experience. Endurance is one of my favorite disciplines. So the night, Le Mans vibes, so very amazing. And congratulations also to the other driver, Alessandro Lisi, very consistent, nice pace every day, every lap at the same time. So we are proud of the amazing job of the team as well during the pit stops, because they did a fantastic pit stop so fast, and so a special thanks to all the team, especially our team manager Giordano Giovannini.
I'll let you come back to the pit wall. Thank you so much, and hopefully cross fingers see you on the podium later on.
Let's hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. We saw it briefly before handing the line over to Antonio. There was a car in the wall, and it was the number 4 car of Ibrahim Okiai, who's probably made a mistake at the exit of turn 15. We don't know if there's a replay available, but we saw it in the picture-in-picture image during the interview that Ibrahim Okiai is already out of the car. All seems fine for him, but the race is over for the number 4 car, which is now down to P6 and retired from the race. They were running very strongly in P3, and most of all, they were running in P2 in the overall classification. So now Ibrahim Okiai and Seda Kachan out of the race. We don't know if it's been a mistake from Ibrahim Okiai or maybe a problem with a lapped car. We saw that the number 4 Audi was in the wall in the runoff area on the exit of turn 15. Here it is, with quite damage in the front part of the car. So maybe we're gonna hear from the Texaco AMS people to maybe better understand what happened to the number 4 car. This means that now in this second stage, the number 18, now driven by Nardilli, is up to P3. So we're gonna see what the overall classification will be now that the number 4 is out of the race. We are talking about this part of the stage being quite tricky for the drivers because of the low grip levels, and that maybe is what is happened, is the problem that Ibrahim Okiai had exiting turn 15. Meanwhile, Pinar lapping in 150 and managing the gap from his car, which is now in P3, the car 18 of 4 ace, driven by Nardini, 147.4 for him on the last lap, 146.0 for Krutoglu in the lead of the race, while Brigatti is now up to P4. You can see the number 4 car still in the runoff area. There's no notification now from the marshals, so far no news about maybe a safety car intervention. Curva del Tramonto is another pretty tough part of the track. Not like Carro, but still pretty dark. Almost difficult to recognize the car in those corners because the lights are very low. And meanwhile, we're 6 minutes to the 0 marks, and from the last lap of the race, with now some other lapping actions behind the leader with the number 3, Joaquin Pinar, running in P2. We were talking about tricky conditions. Never underestimate the how the concentrations of the driver can maybe get lower in these conditions where there's no battles, there's no direct fights on track. So maybe it's easier for the drivers to make a little mistake while running alone. We're in the very final part of this stint, very final part of the stage, very final part of the weekend, and very final part of the season. So we're really close, a few moments away from the official crowning of the 2024 champions. You see the number 4 car is still there in the runoff area at the exit of turn 15. Lap 28 close for Turgut Konukoglu. 146.4 is last lap time. Now let's see Pinar and Nardilli, which are strongly in P2 and P3 at the moment. Still waiting for them to cross the line to start lap 29. This lap of the race still being the 142 marked by Eric Brigliadori in the first heat. Eric Brigliadori really unbeatable this weekend all along since the first 3 practice sessions. Now just waiting for these last minutes to maybe start to celebrate this 2024 title. Meanwhile, the marshals are maybe trying to recover the number 4 car. But now we are very, very close to the end. 2 minutes, 45 seconds. As Konopoglu goes to the final part of the stroke for one last time. But this was actually Pinar. As I was saying, the Carro corner is quite dark, so it's quite difficult to distinguish the Audis in front. One more lap for Turgut Konukoglu, 147.3. While the marshals are probably getting ready with the checkered flag, the last checkered flag of the season. Very nice close up on the Pro Race Cupra. Variante del parco now at the rear corner. There is Fabrizio running in P5 after the retirement of the number 4 Audi. Meanwhile, back in P3 and P4, 147.0 for Nardini, 146.1 for Brigatti. We're now very, very, very close to the end, so there's probably no time for him to catch up with his rival. Konukoglu is about to up again. Fabrizio Tableau. We can see it from the GPS. Seconds away from the 0 marks on the clock, which is 10 seconds right now. So we're about to witness the very last lap of the season with Turgut Konukoglu now meters away from the victory. We'll then have the chance maybe to see also the podium celebrations and to end on high this last live session from Misano. Also with the Lady and the Gentleman Trophy awards to be given. We should now be officially on the last lap of the race. Lap 31. So we're now just really waiting for the checkered flag. Still have to see the last lap billboard being shown. There it is. Last lap billboard in the hands of the marshals. So in the last lap of the season for this first ever TCR European Endurance season, following the championship website and the championship social media channels to get all the news about this season finale, but also on the 2025 season ahead. Let's see what Mauricio Slaviero and his people are going to do to make this championship grow in the next season. Should now be moments away from the checkered flag with Turgut Konukoglu running the last lap of the race. Now looking at turn 16, but it's just a matter of moments before the checkered flag will be waved on Turgut Konukoglu in first position. And here it is. Checkered flag on this second stage, checkered flag on this fourth round of the season, with Turgut Konukoglu crossing the line in P1, and Eric Brigliadori with Konukoglu should be actually the champions winning this race. We'll also wait for the official standings. Then we'll go back to Antonio in the pit lane for the podium celebration, for the pit lane interviews. See what the drivers and the team people have to say on this season finale. And we're supposed to have a chance to also celebrate the title with the AMS people. Now all the 5 cars still in the race, about to take the checkered flag for the last time this year. Here it is, the checkered flag waving also for Nardilli P3, Brigatti in P4, and Fabrizio Tableau in P5. Overall classification with Eric Brigliadori and Turgut Konukoglu winning this race ahead of Cifci and Pinar in third place. In second place, third place for the number 18 of Lisi and Nardilli, so podium for the Pro Race car at their debut in the series. Being also the winner of the US category ahead of Capelli and Brigatti and the two Faro Racing Golfs in P5, P4 and P5 overall, and P2 and P3 for the DSG standings. To be now any moment before we can see Antonio with the drivers in the pit lane, with the last cars completing the last lap back to the pits for the last time this year. We haven't seen many battles in this last stage, but it's been a tricky one anyway, with Ibrahim Okiai obviously a victim of a mistake, probably. We suppose we haven't seen the dynamic of his accident. So very difficult race we supposed for all the drivers in these nighttime conditions. Well, let's take a look at the highlights of this last day of the season here at Misano. We're now back live from Misano, waiting for the podium celebrations of this last race of the season. You can see all the drivers already parked their car in the paddock area, designed for the podium celebrations of TCR European Endurance. So we'll now see the podiums for all the categories to end the season. And we start with Sedaka-chan getting the ladies' trophy. Sedaka-chan, who's been one of the fastest drivers in this last stage before her teammate Ibrahim Okiai had their problem and had to retire the car. So ladies trophy for her, and then the gentleman trophy. So now we should have the overall podium. We can see Antonio Caruccio back there, maybe ready for some interviews. We hope to have the chance to hear one last word from the drivers before the end of this live streaming. Now time for the DSG podium with Lisi and Nardilli, with Pinari and Chipke and Gifci for the Gen 1 podium before, with the number 3 Audi. And now we're waiting for the last trophies to be handed. Celebration times for the photographers. Meanwhile, it's like the last day of school for them. So here they are. Third position for Lisi and Nardilli. Second step of the podium then for Chifsi and Pinar. Oh, sorry, this is the DSG podium. A little bit of confusion even for us. With the low lights and everything. But as we said, it's like the last day of school, so it's a big party for everyone here in Misano, celebrating the end of this first ever season. Here's with the DSG podium with Lisi Nardilli, Cappelli Brigatti, and Fabrizio Tableau posing for the photographers with their trophy. Now it's champagne time for them. Very strong race for Lisi and Nardilli with the pro race Cupra at their debut in the series. As we now wait for Antonio with the interviews and the the last goodbyes of the season. So it's now time for the overall podium. The last podium, the last celebration of the year. Lisa Nardilli on P3, Cifci and Pinar on the second step of the podium. And obviously, they had a dominant weekend. They had a dominant season all along during this year. Eric Brigliadori, Turgut Konukoglu, winners of this third round of the season, and most of all, 2024 overall champions for TCR European Endurance.
Allora ci prepariamo per...
It's now time for the national anthem.
Perché Brigliadori non canta?
E allora un applauso ai nostri piloti che completano l'overall.
And for the dominant season for Eric Brigliadori and Turgut Konukoglu, and for Texaco Team AMS, the Turkish outfit, conquers overall crown with the two drivers now on the top step of the podium, with Mauricio Slaviero handing the trophies to the winners. Obviously posing for the photographers before the celebration start. Mauricio Slaviero giving high five to all the drivers. It's a big party for everyone. It's gonna be a big night for everyone here in Misano to celebrate the end of this first season. Group picture time on the top step of the podium, and then we'll have Antonio with the interviews. So before handing over to Antonio, I want to thank you for being with us on this last round and for being with us this whole first season of TCR European Endurance Series. It's been a privilege to being with you in this very, very beautiful day here in Misano to end the season on a high and hopefully to pick up where we left the next year. With the camera maybe looking for Antonio wandering around the paddock. We're just waiting a few moments to hand over to him and then close the live right after the interviews. You can see everyone smiling, everyone happy. And almost everyone with a nice trophy to bring home. You see the newly crowned champions posing for their pictures right beside their cars. And now it's champagne time, so Antonio, get close to the drivers because it's almost interview time for you. Still a few pictures to be taken with all the team people, obviously. And here there's also the winner board and the big smiles. So here they are now. Now Antonio is getting close. So it's interview time. For me, it's all. That's it. So hand over to you, Antonio, for the last interview of the season. And thank you for being with us.
Can I leave this for a second?
So we are in the Parc Fermé with the final race winner, finally the champions as well. I start from you because I had already the pleasure to interview you during the race.
Yes.
So it was a long season.
Yeah.
It took to wait the very last lap, the very last minute of the race in the night. So it's like if it's a big party, but it finally came. The title, you are the TCR European Championship first champion ever.
Thank you. Well, I'm so exhausted. It's been a long season, really, and this weekend we had no mistake. So it was a perfect race for us, perfect 2 races. It's always a pleasure to be in Misano. It's nighttime, it's night race. I love the circuit. I think we enjoyed together very much. And starting from the first race, the whole season was really difficult. So I'm so happy and glad to be TCR European Champion of Endurance. And we will be the first ever, right?
You are, and hopefully this time for more than 20 days for you.
I hope. I hope, yeah. First of all, I want to thank you, all the team and Turgut, for this opportunity. We had a really good season. A bit of bad luck in the previous race in Misano, as I said before in the interview, but this weekend everything went well. We are here with the title, so that was our main goal at the beginning of the season. We achieved it, so really happy. Thanks again to my teammate and to the whole team. Congratulations.
Thanks to you guys. I'm really afraid of you with that bottle of champagne, so please stay away from me because we are about to close officially our first season of TCR European Endurance. Thank you so much for following us over this channel, and keep connected with TCR TV to follow the last race of the year. So thank you so much for being with us.